Hi, and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do a reading for Pisces 2020. It's been a while since I've been able to get actually round to doing any readings. I have had some other things that I've had to, that kind of kept me away from doing this, so I'm trying to catch up with myself now. So I apologise, Pisces, for the fact that it's already mid-January and I haven't managed to get these out yet. So I am kind of going to try and really focus on getting these done over the next few weeks. So Pisces, Sun, Moon, Venus and Rising Pisces, this is a reading for you. If you don't know where your other signs are, there will be a link in the description box below which will have a free natal chart there for you to go and check out and have a look at the rest of the astrology as well that's happening, because there's a lot happening, as you may or may not be aware of at this moment in time. We've just gone through the big Saturn and Pluto conjunction with a lot of other planets there as well, which is still going to have a long-term knock-on effect, and things are changing and moving on. So I have set this reading out in a clock, and each of the numbers is for a month, and each of the months has got two cards on it from two separate decks of cards, so that you can get kind of twice those energies if they need to come out, rather than just having one set of cards and having quite a flat reading. So there is overall energy as well, which is in the middle, which I take after I've set the rest of the cards out. So the overall energy that you have, Pisces, as you go through 2020 is a beautiful card, the Empress card, which is an incredibly, well, it's a major arcana card for a start, so it's a big energy card. It's kind of saying that this year is all about, for you, kind of cycles of time, because this is what the Empress represents to me. She is also known as Ceres, the goddess of grain and wheat and growth and abundance and all things kind of lush and plentiful. Ceres, interestingly enough, was also at the Saturn Pluto conjunction as well. She was also there while that was going on, so that's an interesting card to have come out as your first card. In this card, which me represents, Ceres represents Mother Earth as well, with all the abundance that Mother Earth gives us, and she is permanently pregnant with potential. And that's really what this card talks about. It talks about the potential of life, the potential of everything that we have and what we do with it. So that for me is really one of the kind of main messages that is coming out for you over this 2020 period, Pisces, is you've got all this potential, and what are you going to do with it? But you also have to be aware as well that potential takes time to kind of grow, and it has its own time of being birthed as well. It's like you can't go out into the fields once you've planted your seeds and force them to grow, because it's not going to happen. It has to have its time. It has to turn into a seedling and then get bigger and stronger and mature. And that's really what this is saying here, is that whatever you're giving birth to, whether that is actually you giving birth yourself, or whether it's you giving birth to ideas this year, Pisces, the potential of things, do not try and rush something. Do not try and get ahead of yourself with it. Allow yourself for it to have its right cycle, for the cycle to be complete before something is birthed. And the card that came out with this card, the Queen of Air, it's a very beautiful card. It's all very feminine energy in this particular, these two cards here in the beginning of your reading, Pisces, which doesn't necessarily have to be just for women. As we know, these energies are interchangeable. Masculine and feminine are found within all of us. But the Queen of Air is very much about the mind, very much about the logic, very much about the thinking, the knowing. She has the potential, here, she has the potential to intellectually understand things. And she's very perceptive as well. She has a perception. She can also be seen as being quite unapproachable at times. She has this beautiful owl sitting on her shoulder, which for me reminds me of Athene as well, the goddess of justice, who always has this owl sitting on her shoulder because the owl kind of gives her the wisdom. So this is about wisdom. This is about kind of going beyond knowledge into the wisdom of something. Is it wise? Whatever you're planning, whatever your potential growth and abundance is here. There's a kind of wisdom behind it as well. You're going to be using a lot of your wisdom, I think, this year, and using a lot of your intellect this year, Pisces, which may be not that easy for you, being a water sign and very emotional by nature. You Pisceans do like to kind of trust your instincts and your intuition, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but this is saying that there may be, this year may call for you to use your intellect more. Maybe learning things as well. Maybe looking at things on a deeper level. So that's your overall energies for 2020, Pisces. And the first card out for January is very much the watery, emotional side of the Pisces, Scorpio, and of course Cancerian energy, which is ruled by Neptune, Pluto and the Moon. So all of those planets are involved with the emotional side of things. King of Cups, literally kind of flows with his emotions. Because he's a king, he's mature, so he's kind of learnt to master his emotions. He's kind of learnt to not be overwhelmed by his emotions, to hold things back more. But he also has this tendency, like a crab, to kind of move sideways into things. He may not be the most kind of forward and most direct. And maybe that's something that's being asked of you here as well, because the Queen of Air is very forward and very direct. Usually she'll be carrying a sword, and the sword kind of reflects that focus, that directness, that kind of ability to cut things out. So you may also find this year as well, Pisces, that you yourself may become a little bit more, I hesitate to use the word intimidating, but maybe a little less soft, and I don't want to use the words easygoing either, because I don't particularly think that that's a good way to describe Piscean energy, but more to do with what's the word I'm thinking of here? What's the feeling I'm getting? More to do with not harsh, realistic, more realistic. You may find that you take more of a realistic approach to things than you normally would, allowing the emotions to kind of override everything. And the card that came out with your King of Cups energy is the Chariot. Now, a lot of tarot readers call the Chariot the Cancer card, or the card of Cancer, Cancerians. Personally, I tend to see this more as a kind of fire energy than a water energy. I kind of tend to see it more as a fast moving, fast action, but also at the same time having to kind of balance your emotions in your head. I tend to see it more as an Aries energy, to tell the honest truth, because Aries are quite headstrong and quite kind of full on with things. So there's a need here for the balance of head, and the Aries is ruled by the head. And Cancerians, water signs in general, but the heart, the emotions are kind of needing to be kind of balanced out, kept in check. Not allowed to run off in two separate directions, because if you go too far one way or the other, you're going to find yourself kind of stranded somewhere that you don't want to be. Because that's what these horses are talking about. Like, if you can keep your horses going in the right direction, then you're going to get to where you want to go, where you want to be in January. It's a major arcana card as well, so the major arcana cards tend to last over a longer period of time than the minor arcana cards do as well. But you may have something at the moment that you're kind of full steam ahead with, that you're really kind of wanting to, you know, get into that flow, get into that kind of passionate energy of achieving something, making something come together for you. And it's something, because it's the King of Cups, it's something that you hold quite kind of emotional. There's an emotional attachment to it, an emotional sense of satisfaction within it, I feel. Rather than it being kind of financially driven, I feel that it's much more emotionally driven for you at this moment in time. So those are the energies that are coming out for you in January. And in February, we move into the Seven of Swords, which is always seen as a kind of deceitful energy. It's kind of very dark. If you look at the whole card itself, it is very dark. It's kind of like it's shadow. It's got these spikes here from the swords that he's carrying here. It's almost like watch your back kind of energy to me as well. There is something here that is kind of shady, underhand, something that's not being brought out into the open. It's not in the daylight. There may be a feeling that it's going against. If this is to do with you, Pisces, if this is something that you are having to do for yourself, then you may feel that this is a feeling of like you don't want to behave in this fashion. This isn't something that you're enjoying doing, but it may be something that you feel that you have to do at this moment in time. There's a kind of feeling of holding your cards close to your chest because you can't give it everything away at the moment. You can't give all the information. You're holding something back. And if this is somebody doing this to you, Pisces, then watch your back. If you're aware of this energy in February, there's an energy of deceit, things not being out in the open, you being kept in the dark, feeling as though you're having to go, or somebody's kind of going the wrong way around about doing something. And the card that came out with this is the Judgment card, or the Call as it is in here. So there is something here that is kind of giving you a warning. So I feel that this is more about something that is happening to you. If this is your energy, and if this is something that you're doing and you know that you're doing it in a deceitful fashion, and you're doing it because you want to do it in a deceitful fashion, because there can be two sides to this card. There can be a feeling that you need to behave like this because you can't reveal all the information yet, or it can be that you're just doing this because of a feeling of revenge or nastiness, or wanting to get your own back on somebody. But with the Cool card here being the Judgment, and this kind of big trumpet here that she's blasting, this angel here with her wings expanded, is kind of saying to me, listen to that call, listen to what you're hearing, listen to what's being said to you, maybe on an intuitive level as well, maybe something that you're picking up on intuitively. And maybe this is also why this Queen energy is around as well, because maybe at the moment this is how you're having to respond to people, so that people don't necessarily kind of walk all over you as well. Maybe that's also what this is about, a feeling of being walked all over. So there is going to be a judgment call on this, but the overall energy that I feel from this is listen. Listen to what you're being told. Listen to the inner voice. And if this is you having to behave like this, even though you don't want to, even though it goes against your nature, and I feel that this is kind of saying that whatever the outcome is, it will be in your favour, because this is upright. If it was upside down, I would tend to say that the outcome would not be the one that you are hoping for. But with this card up the right way, for me, it's saying the judgment from this will be in your favour. Sometimes this card also talks about people returning into your life from the past. That can be also maybe somebody who has been deceitful wants to come back into your life, but they might have hurt you before, and you're kind of aware of their behaviour from the past. Maybe somebody's asking you to kind of let them back in. Maybe somebody's going to apologise about it. Again, maybe that's where this Queen needs to come in as well, and be a little bit more kind of discerning. So watch out for those energies, Pisces, in February, because that's what are going to be around for some of you. It can, like I said, it can be either way as well. You might find yourself being the one that's having to behave like the Seven of Swords, or you might find yourself on the receiving end of that energy. And we have here the Page of Swords as well in reverse. So this is kind of saying to me that there is this, again, this kind of sword energy. There seems to be a lot of kind of intellectual, maybe mind games being played with you at the moment, Pisces. Maybe you feel as though you're being caught in gameplay, because it's upside down. I get more the feeling of it being game playing, of it being somebody who's kind of trying to trick you somehow, deceive you, because this is going through to March time. If it was up the right way, I would say that that card is saying that there's questions. It's all about questioning. It's all about like the little puffs of air here for me kind of represent bursts of yeah, just questions, just these constant kind of like, what's this and what's this about and how about this and blah 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 blah. Just somebody who keeps kind of attacking you verbally, but not in a nasty way. But when it's up this way, I would say that that energy is more to do with that kind of somebody maybe backstabbing you, somebody maybe trying to even possibly ruin a reputation, maybe because you haven't given them what they need here or what they're asking for. So there may be this energy of, because again you've got two major arcana cards there with the Chariot and the Call coming out one after the other. So those energies could be ongoing. And interestingly enough, and I've only just realised this myself, the Page of Air is covered by, covered by the Page of Air. So you've got two Page of Air cards here, one in reverse and one upside down. So this one is talking to me about somebody who is, again, this could be yourself, Pisces, but I don't get the feeling of that so much as it being somebody who is trying to kind of, yeah, ruin your reputation, or just kind of play mind games. And you have that here. So this is double the energy. But in this one, this is you kind of revealing something that this person isn't aware of. This is you kind of coming out and saying, you thought you knew me, but you're very mistaken. Very mistaken. There is a lot of Air Swords energy around you at this time, Pisces. In the early part of 2020, a lot of it is all about this energy here. Discerning, being discerning, learning to be discerning, not to allow yourself to be overwhelmed by. And also with this card as well, I feel that this kind of energy is very much about you wanting to kind of mother everybody and kind of take care of people, and kind of, this is your kind of general nature. Is this kind of like, you know, feeling sorry for people, even if they have done you wrong in the past, and kind of giving them second chances maybe. With this card here, the Call and the Judgment energy. Well, this is calling for you to kind of not allow this energy back in. I feel kind of like, you know, when you spread these wings here, so to speak, these metaphorical kind of angelic wings, there's this kind of feeling of, oh my God, like, you know, I didn't realise what I was dealing with here. And this person will back off. Page of Air twice in March. Interesting energy. So there's going to be a lot of possible communication that isn't necessarily very pleasant communication. There's going to be a lot of backwards and forwards, I feel, as well, about things. Trying to get things straight in your own head as well, before you kind of reach this point of like it really expressing yourself, really full on expressing yourself. That's what I get here from this card, is just this real kind of like, yeah, expression, full on kind of. Don't play with me, don't play games with me. And as you move into April, we find the Seven of Cups asking you, what is it that you're really wanting at this time in your life? Here we see Psyche pleading to Aphrodite to give her what she wants. And what she really wants is her man back. She wants her husband, who she's lost, who she in many ways has betrayed, but she betrayed him because she wanted to know him better, but he wasn't prepared to he wasn't capable, he wasn't prepared to. But in the Seven of Cups here, Aphrodite is saying to Psyche, you can have any of these, just choose whatever you want. It's a bit like castles in the air, all of these potentials and all these possibilities. And Aphrodite's kind of saying, but I don't want any of them. That's not what I want. I've tried all those before and they're not what I want. What I really want is to have what I had returned. And what she really wants ultimately is happiness. That's ultimately what she's looking for. Love and happiness. And the card that came out with this card, I think this card was upside down actually. Yeah, it was. This one's up the right way, but this card is upside down. So this says to me that this is kind of a long-standing feeling of like you keep ending up in this situation of castles just in the air, and maybe falling in love also with potential, seeing somebody's potential, but then being very disappointed when that potential doesn't work out, when they turn out to be something that they're not, which could also have something to do with this energy here as well, which you kind of have to deal with in February. But the Two of Water here, which wasn't upside down, sorry, Two of Water was up the right way. This is saying to me that this is very much about, this is what you're wanting, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for your soulmate. It's very Piscean energy, it's very Pisces. You're looking for your other fish. It doesn't necessarily have to be another fish, but that's kind of what it's saying here, is that you're looking for somebody to share your pond with, your fishbowl, your ocean. It's kind of, there's this like, I want this other one, just one. I don't want all of these. I've done that. I don't want them. I just want this one, whoever this one is. So there's this kind of feeling of, what's the energy I'm getting here with the Seven of Cups? Confusion. This is always about confusion and not really being able to make your mind up about something. But at the same time, I think that Psyche does know what she wants. She doesn't want any of these. So there is a kind of focus. On this one, on just one individual here. But as you move into May, we find the Strength card coming out, which is saying to me that there is this need for you to tame the beast within you, to not allow yourself to be so affected, to not allow things to kind of upset your equilibrium. This is about finding inner strength. This isn't just about outer strength. This is about inner strength. This is about being able to deal with those difficult things that we don't necessarily want to deal with. it's all very inner. If you look here, the cave to me always represents the inner realm of what's going on within us. And in this particular card, Heracles is having to kill this lion. It's one of the things that he's been told to do, but it's symbolic, and he's tried to kill it with the sword, but his skin, the skin of this lion is very what's the word? Well, it's a magical beast basically, and Heracles has been asked by the king of the country to get rid of this beast, because the beast is killing all the sheep and the farmers and generally causing havoc in the countryside. So Heracles has gone off to try and kill this magical beast, and he can't kill it with swords, he can't kill it with his dagger, he can't kill it with arrows, nothing goes through, nothing penetrates this skin. So he's having to do it with his hands. He's having to strangle this beast with his hand, which is kind of symbolic of us having to kind of get hold of ourselves, take a hold of ourselves at times, and kind of, as much as we want to stamp our feet and kind of really let loose at something, this is kind of saying that this is a time for you to really tame that which you may find irritating, annoying, distressing, kind of takes you back to a place within yourself, your childhood maybe even. Trigger points. Trigger points. This is about trigger points, things that trigger you, things that kind of set you off on that kind of energy where you just want to kind of attack and just want to kind of, yeah, which can happen. We all have this inner beast. We all have this that we have to kind of tame and kind of bring under control, particularly at trigger point moments as well. But once this beast has been tamed, or by Heracles, once it has been killed, he then can wear this skin as an outer protection. And so it's symbolic of kind of like not being affected by things as much anymore. It's kind of like, you know, water off a duck's back. You can just kind of live and let live in that sense as well, where things don't affect you as much as they might have done in the past. And it's come out with this beautiful transformation card here, which is just absolutely gorgeous. And it is very, well, this is, in most tarot decks, this would be known as the death card. So there's a big, big transformation going on here. There's a big death of your own inner self on some level happening here, Pisces, I feel. And I feel that it is to do with childhood. I feel as though it has got something to do with what's happened to you in the past, and kind of letting it go, coming to terms with it, allowing it to transform you so that you're not affected by it anymore in the outside world. And there is something in this card here as well. It's quite tricky to see, but there is a kind of, if you look here, in this card here, there is a phoenix rising. It is tricky with this light, I'm afraid. Let me just kind of move that out the way. For a wee bit. You can see this kind of firebird here, this phoenix that she's holding in her hand, and it's kind of magically rising up and kind of transforming. And she's kind of very focused on it, very focused on what she's doing. So you may find that during this period of time, during the month of May, that this is going to be a very strong focus of attention for you. That this will come up and you will have to kind of do something about it. There will be trigger points and you will kind of have to recognize them, see them for what they are, and transform that energy into something like, you know, the phoenix rising from the ashes. It is like a rebirth. It is like something completely not experienced before, is what I'm feeling here, Pisces. And I think that that's got a lot to do with these two cards here and this energy here. The discernment and the kind of, this could also be to do with mothering issues as well, because the Empress can also represent the mother. It can represent the mother, or as I like to call her, the mother or the smotherer. So there can also be two types of problems here. You can have the mother who was kind of, or even three types. The mother who was kind of absent and wasn't there, and the mother that was full on and too much and kind of wouldn't let you actually experience or live life for yourself, or, you know, the kind of balance of the two. The mother who kind of knew when was the right time to do what she had to do and when was the right time to hold back and allow you to experience what it was you needed to experience. So I feel that there's something to do with childhood here because of this energy. But it is very transformative. Whatever that it's going to be for you, Pisces, whatever comes up for you in that time of May, there is going to be a rebirth for you, which is going to give you an inner strength that, like I said, that you yourself have not experienced before. Again, both major arcana cards, so both kind of long lasting, both big energies in the month of May. And then in June we move into the Queen of Pentacles, an energy of security, an energy of feeling safe in your environment, feeling content in your environment, feeling that you're where you need to be, possibly in your environment. She's very loving, very caring, nurturing. She's kind of the Empress in minor arcana form in some way, even though like the Empress kind of embodies all these different queens as well. She's a very earthy energy, the Empress, and the Queen of Pentacles is also very earthy. Empress always for me kind of represents the earth signs of Taurus and Virgo, maybe not quite so much Capricorn, although there is elements of Capricorn there as well. But this is very much the kind of Taurus energy. She's even got the ball on either side of her throne here and holds the pentacle in her hand. She knows her value. She knows who she is. She knows her worth. And I think that this is what comes out from these energies here, is that you realise that you are much more than you have kind of let yourself be, shall we say, up to now. It's kind of self-esteem as well, kind of rising, which is interesting actually, because the self-esteem card has come out with this, and they've both come out the right way. So for me, this is very much about you being in your power, very much about you being grounded, being secure, being much stronger within your own energy. Knowing your worth, knowing your value, knowing what you want. With the Nine of Pentacles here as well, it's kind of, I love the way she's kind of holding this flower as if it's really precious. It kind of represents, to me, it represents her symbolically. Like the symbolicness of kind of, you know, the preciousness of ourselves. Loving ourselves, nurturing ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and only when we can do that can we also then do the same for somebody else. Until we learn how to love ourselves and nurture ourselves and have our self-worth and our self-esteem. This is all about self-confidence. but interestingly, she's kind of hooded and she's also kind of masked here as well. So it says to me that this is kind of an energy that you are going to be aware of, but you're not necessarily going to be kind of putting it out there as kind of like, you know, this is what I've gone through and this is what I am now. And it's not something that you're going to be kind of, I hate to use the word boasting, but it's something that you're kind of keeping it under wraps. Not to everybody, because I feel that there's this openness here as well. And kind of people that you resonate with and connect with will understand this. So this is what's going to occur for you in June, Pisces, which is a lovely energy of just feeling a lot stronger in yourself and your own energies. And as you move into July, you have the Four of Wands. And the Four of Wands is saying to me that there's now something, now that you've kind of gone through that process of change, transformation and change and inner strength, finding your inner strength and kind of coming out on top of it and being very successful with it all. In a way, kind of the universe, or you're kind of like, yeah, the universe is saying to you, okay, right now, what's next? What's the challenge that you want to take up next? Because the boat for me always represents life. It's kind of like, you know, you get on this boat and it kind of takes you where you want to go. It represents to me that journey, that adventure. And this very much, the Four is about kind of foundation and solidness as well. There's a solidness within the Four. So all these people here kind of represent your tribe, shall we say, the people that you resonate with, the people that who you are kind of trusting, who you're taking with you on your journey as you set off. But as you're kind of preparing yourself, shall we say, for what's coming here and this kind of new adventure, in comes this kind of distraction with the Seven of Earth here. It's almost like he's kind of walking down this path and he's kind of enjoying his kind of time, and he's not being too intense about it or too worried about it. He knows it's coming. He knows there's something that's new, that's going to kind of take him on a new adventure. But then I feel that something kind of comes in from kind of left field, something that you weren't expecting. And it's that kind of left field thing here. In this card, it's a little fairy that's kind of attracted his attention. He's kind of totally distracted by it now, and it's kind of taken him off on a different path. Or it could do. It hasn't as of yet, but it is kind of, you know, saying, look at me, how beautiful I am. Come, follow me type of energy. That's what I get from this here, from this card. And so there could be this kind of distraction. There could be this kind of, this could be you, Pisces, being distracted, or you could be the one doing the distraction as well. In the sense that there could be something that you know you should be doing or could be doing, and maybe something that you don't necessarily want to take up. Because this is all about kind of like, you know, your boat comes in, are you going to jump on it? You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to get on that boat, but at the same time, it's like, you know, if that boat leaves and you're not on it, you could be waiting a long time for the next one before you get the Chance again. But this card here for me is about distraction. It is about kind of saying don't get distracted, I feel, is the message here. Because what comes out next is the Two of Cups again. But it's in reverse this time. So I get the feeling that this could be the distraction. And I mean, it's entirely up to you, Pisces. I can't say don't get distracted. That's not what I'm here to do. I can just kind of tell you what's happening or what's likely to happen, what's coming in, what the energies are. And so the Two of Cups has come in reverse. And I feel that this is that distraction. That this could take you off somewhere that you don't necessarily want to be, because it's a Two of Cups as well. I feel that on some level you may be more into this relationship than whoever the other person is, because it's upside down. There could be an energy that somebody is more invested in this, or in the idea of this, because this hasn't actually kind of come together. And there is, with this card, and this is all happening in August, sorry, with this card we have the Seven of Fire, or the Seven of Wands. And for me, this here is saying kind of like, you know, you're teetering on the edge, on the brink, so to speak. And I feel as though you're kind of more trying to get away from this than you are trying to jump into it. There's just an energy of this kind of something here, because it's upside down, because it's in reverse. I just feel that this is that distraction. This is kind of what you asked for in a way as well, with this here, with the Seven of Cups and the Two of Water. It's kind of like, you know, you think or you believe that this is what you wanted. This is what you've asked for. And it comes at a time when you were kind of much more going off on one direction, about to board this boat, about to kind of go somewhere and do something else. And this kind of comes in. And the Seven of Fire. And the Seven of Fire is about standing your ground. Standing up for your beliefs. And these kind of little fireflies here as well, I think they kind of represent the kind of energy of kind of your passion and your, you know, what you believe in, what you kind of very strongly think is worthwhile standing up for. It's a unicorn here as well, which of course is a mythical beast, and kind of, you know, coming out with the Two of Cups, there is this kind of thing about love being this kind of mystical, mythical kind of, what really is it, you know? And astrologically, we've just had this Saturn-Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, and the last time, which was like 33 odd years ago, 33 years I think it was, in 1982 anyway, Saturn and Pluto, sorry, met up in Libra, which was all about kind of relationships. It's all this stuff, and kind of relationships just went on a very weird trajectory after that time, and kind of culminated in where we are today. Which is kind of like, you know, what is it all about? That's the kind of thing I get here. It's like, what is it all about? It's like almost like we have no real idea what love really is, because there's been so many kind of messed up relationships that we've all had to go through or experience or have created for ourselves on some level. So yeah, there's a kind of mystical energy about this. And you may feel very strongly that you want to stand up for this. Even if the other person kind of, maybe you want to move it on to something more as well, Pisces, but this other person isn't maybe ready for that, or they're not capable of that, or they just want to keep it a kind of platonic kind of, or maybe not so much platonic, but kind of just, you know, then they don't want to step it up in the same way that you do. And one of the reasons that I say that as well is because you have the Lovers come out in September. And the Lovers is all about kind of the choice of the person that we choose. Who is it we choose? Because here it's represented by the three goddesses of Athene, Aphrodite and Hera. And this is Paris and the golden apple. And he was asked by Zeus to judge which of these three goddesses was the most beautiful, which is a very dangerous thing to do. And not, I mean, that's the reason that Zeus gave it to Paris, because Zeus didn't want the consequences himself. So, and the consequences turned out to be quite horrific, because it caused the war of Troy, with the wooden horse, and destruction of Troy. So Athene here is all about the mental realm, the kind of intellect. She offers Paris the kind of ability to understand strategy and warfare and justice and kind of all those very kind of mental realm, intellectual knowledge. Hera offers him kind of all the understanding of the world and, you know, everything that the world kind of can give him. And Aphrodite, of course, the goddess of love, just basically opened her very flimsy, not even a gown really, just this kind of piece of material she's wrapped in there, just kind of opened it up and just offered what she had. And it was a foregone conclusion, of course, with Paris being kind of young and innocent and kind of like ruled by his desires, shall we say, rather than kind of intellect, understanding of something, or the kind of inner wisdom of things, because this is more to do with kind of wisdom. So it kind of represents those aspects of ourselves, the Lovers. It's like, you know, who do we choose when we choose somebody to be a lover, when we choose somebody to be in our life, when we choose to have somebody represent that side of ourselves? Where do we come from when we make that choice? And it's come out with the King of Cups, which you've had once already in January. It's very kind of emotional, and I feel that kind of by this time you may well be feeling very emotional again, Pisces. Then you may have kind of come round to this kind of emotional desiring, and once again kind of your emotions being stronger than this kind of discernment and this kind of overriding intellectual energy here, which, because this is the overall energy, I think you kind of need to keep pulling yourself back to this energy, especially when the emotions really take over. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think your emotions are going to get very much kind of, again, it could be this sense of like wanting to take care of somebody, wanting to look after somebody, wanting to kind of help somebody, nurture somebody, which aren't bad things. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're bad things to do, but it's whether or not it's going to feed you as well. That's, I think, the real issue here, is this has to be mutual. This can't just be coming from you, which I feel is why this is upside down, because I feel that this is about you, Pisces, wanting this more than the other person does, and that you may find yourself feeling that you're always the one doing all the nurturing and the caring and the emotional, all the emotional side of things. So just take that as a warning, Pisces. I'm not saying don't do it, because I think, you know, we all have to go through things for whatever reason, painful as they can be, even though that pain can teach us a lesson. And sometimes the only way we learn is by experiencing, or is the only way we learn, really, is experience. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles as you move into October. And the Knight of Pentacles in reverse says to me, this is about your independence. Your independence, your strength of independence. When it's up the right way, this is about somebody who's kind of very practical, very down to earth, somebody who's very steadfast. You can feel very safe around these people. But when it's up this way, I get the feeling that this is about somebody who's very kind of independent. They're very kind of focused on themselves and their own value and their own issues and their own... They're very slow moving. I mean, even when it's up this way, it's a very slow moving energy. But when it's up this way, it's almost like a completely non-moving energy. It's just like stuck in the same place, stuck in the mud, is the expression that comes into my head. Stuck in the mud, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to change, doesn't want to... Yeah, doesn't want to change, doesn't want to experience things differently, wants everything to be the same as it always is. Very set in their ways, very set in their ways. And the energy that's come out with this is the Page of Water. And the Page of Water for me always talks about somebody kind of the inner child, and I feel that this is you, Pisces, the playful, yeah, playful. I get the feeling of somebody who's very playful, very kind of childlike, not childish but childlike, very kind of kind of even mischievous in a way. If you look here, it's like she's wearing this dress that's too big for her. She's kind of revealing this towel down here, as if kind of saying, look, you know, you didn't know that I had this, did you? And also these kind of big feathers on her head as well. It's almost like she's been in the dressing up box. When I look at her, that's what I see. Somebody who's just gone and kind of dressed herself up from the dressing up box. But it is about kind of being in your emotions and in the water, and very kind of still that very, very same energy here. And I feel that this is kind of you trying to, if this is this person here, which I think it is, that you've kind of got yourself involved with, that this is you trying to get them out of this energy, you trying to kind of show them that there's more to life in a way. But this person is very stubborn. I will say that now. Very stubborn. Very, very stuck in their ways. Does not want to move. Does not want to change things. Very Capricorn energy in many ways. And it could be a Capricorn. It doesn't have to be. It could just be somebody who's been affected by Capricorn energy at that time in their life, or natally things are happening earth-wise. But there is just this really strong feeling of somebody does not want to budge. Doesn't want to budge. Mind is made up. And that's how they're gonna stay. Whereas you, on the other hand, you just want to have fun. You just want to play. You just want to kind of... You really like this person. I would just say that. You really do like this person. You almost feel as though you can save them from themselves. That's the energy I'm getting here, Pisces. Sorry, but you do. You feel as though, like, you know, I can save you from yourself. So, as we move into November, we have the energy of the devil in reverse. And the devil to me is all about, well, it's Capricorn energy. It's that energy of kind of fear of something, fear of moving beyond something. And I still get the feeling that it's to do with this energy here. This person very kind of reserved maybe as well. I don't get the feeling this is your energy, Pisces. I very much feel that this is you. This is you here. Dancing, playing. Yeah. Whereas with this energy here, it's about being bound. It's about, because you see here he's got these kind of leashes. He's got these kind of, these two dancing naked humans down here are held on these leads, but they're held by their own volition. They're kind of, they have the ability to kind of unhook themselves and dance off on their merry way, but they're kind of, you know, dancing to his music. And it basically, it's about our inner restrictions, the things that we restrict ourselves by, the things that we hold ourselves in place by. And I think that's what this card here is saying as well, that this person kind of holds themselves in this place due to this energy, due to this very kind of, I don't want to be mean about this energy, because I don't think that this person's a nasty person. I don't think they are. I just feel that there's a stuckness here, just a very kind of like traditional, that's the word I'm looking for, a real strong traditional kind of, that's how it's always been, so that's how I'm going to keep doing it. And this may also, Pisces, have kind of a knock-on effect with you as well. You may find yourself kind of because this is a very powerful energy, the devil. It is a very powerful energy, and it's quite easy to kind of find yourself restricted and find your energy kind of sinking and kind of feeling as though you kind of, you know, you're losing that inner child, you're losing that playfulness, because you're being held in this very powerful energy of kind of tradition and restriction. And this could also be to do with family as well, family traditions, just somebody who's quite kind of fearful, because the devil can play a huge part in our fears as well. And it is about kind of dancing to that tune, like I was saying earlier, but it's about allowing yourself to. But it's come out with a very interesting card here, which is to me the total opposite of this energy, the Hierophant. Now the Hierophant normally in most tarot represents kind of the Pope and kind of religion and kind of, again, very traditional, very traditional. But in this deck here, I see this much more as the connection with the divine through our own connection with the divine through our own understanding, our own inner feeling, our own interpretation, which I think is what this is kind of saying here, that this is you understanding things on a different level, understanding things as very kind of intuitive, and you know, you have your own way of connecting with divine energy, whereas this is much more traditional. This is much more kind of religious orientated, and kind of, and this could have something to do with this person's past as well. This could have something to do with their, you know, they may have been brought up very strictly in a very strict religious background, and that may also be why they're attracted to you too, Pisces, because you're very kind of free and easygoing, and that's how they want to be. That's their kind of that's their inner child as well, if you like, but they can't allow that inner child out the same way that you can, because you've got this kind of much more natural understanding of things, shall we say, intuitive. It's like you listen to your own feelings a lot more. You're not as kind of ruled or kept in old ideas as this energy here. So for me, the Hierophant here is saying that, you know, this is kind of a battle of wills, I would say, in some way. This is like old versus new. This is Aquarian energy in many ways, a kind of new way of doing things. And this is the kind of Pluto-Saturn conjunction of the kind of, you know, destruction of the establishment and everything that we've been told and brought up to believe is kind of set in stone and will always be that way. So there's a real battle of wills, I feel, going on here between you two. Because I think that one represents you, Pisces, and one represents the person that you're involved with here. Just very, yeah, they're both very powerful energies, but in different ways. I just feel this is much more open, much more kind of connected to divine energy, to allowing that through and understanding it on a different level, whereas this is much more heavy, much more kind of fear-based energy. So Pisces, as we move into the last month, December, we have the Temperance card, which is a beautiful card. Beautiful card. So this is kind of saying to me that there will be balance here. You've got the gold cup of the masculine and the silver cup of the feminine. This is kind of how it always represents itself to me. The sun and the moon, kind of the emotions and the kind of what does the sun represent? Kind of illumination of things, and the moon kind of the hidden. But Temperance herself, this beautiful angel here, can only exist within a relationship. If there isn't a relationship, she cannot exist. And it is all about this flow backwards and forwards of communication from one heart to the other heart. And that doesn't necessarily have to be to do with kind of verbal communication, but verbal communication kind of keeps the channels open. So there's this kind of energy flowing from one to the other. And understanding, it's when we kind of close things down and close things off that things become blocked and stagnated, and that's when the problems come in. I always kind of liken it to a flowing river as well. Like the faster the river can flow, the more oxygen there is, the more things can live in it and thrive in it. Whereas if you kind of block this flowing river, if you kind of stop it from being able to flow after a while, it just stagnates and everything in it dies, and there is no more oxygen, no more life, no more breath. And I kind of that's how I see a relationship. Is like, you know, to have a relationship you have to have that backwards and forwards flow. There has to be that kind of heartfelt connection. And this card has come out with the Messenger of Fire. And the Messenger of Fire normally would represent the Knight of Fire, Knight of Wands, who is somebody, to me the Knight of Wands is somebody who wants to experience everything as much as they possibly can. They want to kind of experience, they want to kind of create as much as they can, or yeah, kind of the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence for the Knight of Wands. It's like, you know, I'm here but it looks better over there, and it gets over there and then kind of thinks, oh no, actually I prefer where I was, or actually it looks better over there. So it's kind of very what's the word I'm looking for, flighty kind of energy. It's not an energy that settles for long. It's not an energy that kind of stays focused or fixed on something for very long. In this card she's kind of looking, again, kind of distracted. She's kind of looking over her shoulder. She's kind of looking at something. I feel something from her past. It's not a card that I particularly connect with, this card in this deck. I must admit, out of all the cards, this card is probably the one that I find least expressive as to what it's actually trying to say here. But there is a kind of maybe a feeling of moving on. This is December. This is the energy as you get to the end of this year. And as we get to the end of this year, there is going to be a conjunction between Saturn and Jupiter in a very kind of 0 degrees of Aquarius, the very early stages of Aquarius energy. And Saturn and Jupiter haven't come together for quite some time. And some people are calling it like, you know, I like to call it the beginning of the beginning. It's kind of like the opening of the door to something new. And maybe that's what this is about as well, is kind of this wanting something new. Really wanting this. A Messenger of Fire is often kind of known as a player as well in many different decks. He would be seen as the player. But I don't get that from this either. I get this kind of feeling of maybe feeling that you are alone. There's something quite alluring about this as well. There is something quite alluring about this energy in this card. The way that she's looking. Almost like you don't quite know what she's looking at. It is a fire energy. It is to do with passion and creativity and ideas. I just like, you know, with a crown here that's kind of lit up with all these candles, it kind of reflects to me all these different ideas. Maybe this about what you're taking through with you into 2021. Is this new way of kind of looking at the world, having come out of this kind of Hierophant energy as well, and kind of learning things on a deeper level, because I think that's also what the Hierophant is here to do as well, is to teach you on a deeper, more kind of mystical, esoteric level even. And maybe she's kind of saying, like, you know, you either come along with me or I'm going to do this on my own. Because the Temperance card is here as well. And Temperance, like I said, can only exist within a relationship. So maybe that is what she's saying here is, you know, are you coming with me? Are you going to experience this with me? Or am I going to move forward without you? So those are the messages that I have for you today, Pisces. I do hope that they have been of some help to you. If you have liked my video, please can you thumbs it up for me, because it does help to get it out into the bigger kind of a video world of YouTube. Also to tap the bell if you're interested in getting any future videos that I will be putting out there, and to subscribe to my channel please as well, because I really am trying to grow my channel at the moment, and there's problems with the growth of channels because of everything that's going on with YouTube. We won't go anywhere with that though. So also, if you think that this would be of help to any other Pisceans that you know, or anybody who has a moon, a rising or a Venus in Pisces, and you think that that might also help them, please feel free to share it. If you want to make any comments, leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. Also, my email is in the description box before I forget, for anybody who might like to book a private personal reading with me, where I can go more in depth into your own personal story. This is a kind of general overall 2020 Pisces reading, and I hope to see you back again sometime soon. Take care, Pisces.